everyone, welcome back to our Food Pal YouTube channel, and I hope you're all doing safe and sound. So we are back after a very long time, right? And just so you know, we wanted to make the content really nice and special for you. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Anubhav Sakra, and he is the foodie in chief, as he puts it, of Delhi Food Walks. So, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Twinkle, for having me. And I've been to your country, Nepal, last year, and I had very beautiful memories of the place. I stayed there for almost more than 10 days, and I explored Nepal, Kathmandu, and Pokhara. So I have beautiful memories of Nepal.
I have interned with Delhi Food Walks. And I remember back then, we had just like started. It was very interesting because it was a very new concept, altogether. And that's why, I chose to like intern with you. Delhi Food Walks has come like a long, long way since then. So, sir, just like, if you could like talk about your journey.
Okay, so if you want to know about my journey, I started in 2010. So I started with a food blog. I had a full-time job. I was working in a non-profit sector. I used to work with street kids and homeless people. And in 2010, I started a food blog named Street Food of Delhi. And the idea was to document the local street food of Delhi, like walking around Old Delhi, the streets of Delhi, and documenting the local street food vendors, their story, how they started, and what is the specialty of those street food vendors, just to document it. And that blog picked up very well. So after that, I thought maybe why not, like people living in Delhi, they don't know about the places to eat in Delhi. Like say if I talk about a chole kulche guy sitting in one corner of Connaught Place and selling his chole kulche for past 30 years, but if you ask someone who is staying in West Delhi or East Delhi, they won't know about that guy. So I thought it's a good opportunity to why not introduce the street food vendors to the people of Delhi through a food walk. So I started organizing food walks. The first food walks was in 2011, and then I changed the name of my group from Street Fuller to Delhi Food Walks. The first food walk is near railway station, a place called Paharganj. Very popular in Delhi for street food. So I created an event on Facebook. I asked people to join me for a food walk, and almost 30 people living in Delhi, they joined for the food walk. So the idea clicked that people living in Delhi, they want to also explore the city through food. They want to understand the city through food. So I thought maybe it's a good opportunity to make this a full-time profession. And I started exploring more street food of Delhi, and I created food walks in different regions of Delhi. Then started creating food walks around the festivals that happens in Delhi, like say Ramzan time, you get special food. You have so I started organizing iftar food walks. Then I was the first one to conduct Sehri walk, the walk which started at 11 in the night till 4 a.m. in the morning. So those walks really picked up. The media, national media, international media, they all covered it. And in 2014, I quit my job where I was working full time after working there for 5 years, and I started doing it full time. And since then, like now we have a team of people who conduct food tours. Now, last 2 years back, I started making YouTube videos. I realized that after doing food walks in Delhi for almost 7-8 years, it's now time to explore the food of other cities and then other countries as well. So I first almost in Delhi, in India, we have covered almost 57 plus cities, and we have covered 18 plus states. And we were planning to cover more, but because of this corona thing, we have stopped traveling. But I hope like in future we can again travel and we can explore the food of India and other countries and share it with the world through our YouTube channel. So this is the quick journey from 2010 to 2020, you can say.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask one thing, like of course you said it as a quick journey, but there would have been many hurdles for you. Like of course when you look back, you always tend to look back at the good side. Like what would be the one major hurdle that you faced?
So the major hurdle was that because I was more into street food, so there are many myths associated with street food, and majority of people who come from other countries, they associate Delhi street food with Delhi belly. So I tried to break that notion of Delhi belly. Like if they were saying like if someone is coming from US or UK or Australia or New Zealand, If they come there, the first thing was that if they eat on the streets of Delhi, they're going to fall sick. So I tried to break the notion of street food. Delhi Belly was saying that what you eat on the streets is fresh cooked, and you can see the preparation how it is cooked, and it's better than eating in a fine like high-end restaurants where you can't see the kitchen, what is being cooked behind the scene. So yeah, that's how I tried to break the notion, and that was a major hurdle, but it took a bit of time to build up the trust amongst the travelers. But yeah, now people can come on the food tours and they can eat comfortably without worrying about Delhi belly. And then the other myth was that Indian food is very spicy. The foreigners, the travelers, they can't handle the Indian food. So I tried to break that notion that spiciness and the heat of the spices is completely different. So there were many challenges, but it took a bit of time. Like when we started doing it full time in 2014, for almost 6 months to 1 year, there were not many people coming on food tours, but slowly it picked up. And now when we look back for last few years, from September to March, we do food walks almost every day.
During those tours, I mean, like, how many people do you take with you?
So we try to keep it very small since day one. Sometimes we have bigger groups, but we try to keep it very small, not more than 4 people. That's the whole idea, because it's a very personalized tours. It's not a heritage walk. It's not a history walk where a guide is telling you about देखो ये कुतुब मीनार है, ये Red Fort है, and then you tell the story and then you walk to other place. It is very personalized. Everyone has different questions, and it's you can tell them the stories of the place. The place is very crowded. You sit with them, exchange between the guide who is doing the food tour and the participants.
So on that same question, I would like to ask you one more further question. Okay, like in your food walk, you said you had a lot of people from Delhi, and you said you used to conduct before the pandemic almost a lot of walks. So in your walks, do you generally have local people or people from within the country or foreigners?
So now it has demography. If you talk about the people who come on food tours, has completely changed. Till 2015, majority of people who used to come on our tours were locals living in Delhi. But 2016 onwards, it changed to majority people who come on food tours now are foreigners, and then we have locals. So it would be, you can say, in the ratio of 80 to 20. 80% of them are foreigners, 20% of them are locals living in Delhi.
Okay. So sir, now when you go to different cities, how do you connect with the bloggers out there? So we've seen in all your videos, right? Mm-hmm. You have people around and they show you around and they tell you about particular food out there. So what's the whole agenda?
So the thing is that, like, in India we have many different languages, and it changes like from state to state. Some places it's very difficult to communicate with the local vendors in Hindi. So I tried to find a local person who can help me in the translation and who can take us to the local places as well. And secondly, if you have a very limited time set. Like say if I am visiting, I was in Nepal, so I have very limited time. I have just 10 days. If I start looking for the places on my own, it will take minimum more than a month to find all the places. And then the language is a barrier. So it's better to find a local person who can help you find different places and then help in communication with the local vendors. You can know more stories, you can know more about the local place and the stories behind the street food vendors and the street food as well. So I try to find a local person everywhere. I have done few cities on my own, like I've done Varanasi on my own, I have done Lucknow on my own, and I have done the whole Bihar on my own. Then Himachal except Shimla, other places was my own. So I try to find a mix of local people who can help in communication and find local places. And secondly, some places I've done on my own as well.
So I mean, like, do you know them prior to your visit?
Yes. So most of them I find them on Instagram. Social media is really helpful.
So that's
you can find them on Instagram. Yeah. So majority of people whom I find for the food tours were on Instagram.
All right. And now that
I'll just go. I'll just put in a spot there, like out of all your visits to various cities in India, if you had to choose one cuisine which you like the most, which one would that be?
It would be certainly, as of now, I love the cuisine of Eastern India, Bihar, UP, Bengal, the kind of preparation they do is very close to my heart because I was born in Bihar. So the cuisine of Bihar is always will be the first top. Second would be if to talk about just the city, then it would be Varanasi. Varanasi is my favorite place to be in India for street food.
That didn't take you long. I thought, would actually think about it, but it was pretty quick.
Yeah, Varanasi is always like if anyone asks me one place for street food, especially the vegetarian street food. For non-vegetarian, there are many places, but if you are a vegetarian, I think Varanasi, the chaat and the other street dishes are like incomparable. You can't compare it.
So so being like you used to almost, I think, try new dish or cuisine almost every day. What are you doing during this quarantine period? Are you cooking yourself?
Not really, because I stay with my parents. My mom cooks good food, so I just eat. So I don't cook much food. I usually prefer cooking non-vegetarian food, but at home I'm not allowed to cook, so I've not been cooking anything. And at home, like for me, the only thing which I'm missing is like just walking on the streets, because I love. I love walking on the streets, talking to local people and other places. So that's the only thing I'm missing. So I hope within a couple of months we'll start traveling. So yeah.
So like, when you talk about your international, I mean, like going international, why did you choose Nepal? Was it like because of the distance factor or out of curiosity?
Yeah,
I mean,
so I picked up the idea was first to cover India, then cover the neighboring countries, so that you can understand the food culture of your neighboring countries and the food exchange which had happened between India and other countries. Like say if you talk about Bangladeshi cuisine,
Yeah.
it's also East Bengal, West Bengal. The cuisine, there are a little bit of similarity in their cuisine. Same when I visited Nepal, I got to know many things which we eat in Bihar is eaten in Nepal as
you'd
well.
mentioned that, yes.
Yeah. So you got to understand first, and then the idea was first to cover India, then the neighboring countries, South Asia. Then I was trying to do Southeast Asia, then other countries. So you can understand the food changing from one region to other region, and you have more deeper understanding about the cuisines of different countries. That was the whole idea. And secondly, we were planning to do Bhutan, but we had to cancel it. We had many plans to visit other neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Myanmar. So hopefully, in next couple of years, we'll do it.
Okay.
So I'll ask you one very interesting question for me, because we are doing this YouTube part, and many of when we go out, we find many of the maybe whomever we interview also, they're very camera shy. So do you face that concern when you come with like maybe a street vendor whom you are shooting?
See, I'm still a very camera conscious person. It's very difficult. I've been doing it for past 2 years, but still I face it. But I always ask my cameraman, because I travel with a camera person. So I just ask him to keep rolling. So I ask him like, don't tell me you have to start, cut, just keep rolling. I will do it in a flow. So that's what I try to do. If you see all my videos, none of them are scripted. I simply go to a food vendor and it's very spontaneous. So that's what I try to keep doing in my videos.
And so how about the street vendors? Of course, they're camera shy, right? So I mean, like, have you faced that part, when they've asked you not to shoot, it's like, they shy away from it?
Not really. We just approach the person. We always take the permission. We just introduce them saying that we are from Delhi and we are here for filming your street food, and we really like your street food. We have heard a lot about you. And then most of them, 99% of them, they agree. Some of them, they are not exactly camera shy. They don't want to be filmed. So it had happened in Gujarat, like we were in Surat, a couple of vendors, they were not comfortable because of they have some issues, ki tax wala aa jayega, and other things, they don't want to get filmed. Otherwise, majority of them are very friendly. And in fact, you won't believe street food vendors, the stories which we get to hear from them, you won't get that in the restaurants or high-end places. They are very, very, very friendly. In fact, in Nepal also, we had great experience. Wherever we went, majority of people everywhere were very friendly.
So what was like the best part about your Nepal journey?
As I said, so the flavors were the food which we ate, the food which we tried in Nepal was not something new for me. As I said, like, because I've lived for a long time in Bihar, so some of the flavors were very what do you say? You can identify them. You can say like you have tried them before. Like whatever we tried, the dishes which we tried, like say tash we tried, or like say some dishes were new for us. Like say jhol momo was something very new for us. We haven't tried it in Delhi. We don't. I think I haven't never tried in Delhi. Some of the flavors were new to us. Otherwise, most of them were quite. I can identify it because the use of the oil, sarson ka tel, istemal karna, mustard oil, were not that unique to me. But I loved being in Nepal. Especially Pokhara was beautiful. I hope we had more time. We were there only for one night. I hope we would have stayed there for a longer time and tried more dishes.
I'd watched one of your videos where you were really relishing yomari. I hope you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a very unique experience. I think that's the thing everyone should try. What is it called? Ab to meko yaad bhi nahi aa raha.
Yomari,
I have to check it.
And the fermented
Yomari
rice. Yeah, yomari.
Sweet tooth.
Fermented
So
rice.
yeah.
And
That was a beautiful experience. I think that everyone should experience it. Anyone who is visiting Nepal should go to that place and see how the preparation, the food is prepared, and taste all the local delicacies. The yomari was delicious. In fact, the sweet filling.
It looked really nice. Seriously.
My mouth is watering just thinking about it. So that was very special. I have a sweet tooth, so I love anything, any dish which has sweetness. So I love it. And then the drink which we tried, rice.
What a bad experience, yes?
Yeah, that was very very strong. And they have different levels. एक दो तीन चार पाँच छः सात ऐसा कुछ होता है. And उसको कितना distillation करते हैं. तो वो बहुत ही strong था. So
but all in all, you had a nice experience in Nepal.
Yes,
right?
yes, I love. In fact, many people are again emailing, messaging, asking us to revisit Nepal. So maybe, yeah, I think something was happening that time. Visit Nepal 2020, something like that was a big campaign was happening. So many people messaged us. Until date, we get messages from Nepal asking us to visit. So hopefully we'll plan it again. Maybe we'll contact you this time.
Yeah, definitely, sir. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
So now talking about, during, these trying times, street vendors, they're having more problems. What should be our strategy?
See, the major setback is for the street vendors, whether it's street food or patriwala or someone is selling anything. They are selling clothes or regular use stuff. They are the people who are mostly affected by this. We are sitting in the house, but we don't know what they are facing. It's been 2 months. Daily wagers, migrant laborers, and many of them are street vendors. In street when food vendors category, there are many. Like say, if you classify it, I was talking to someone early in the day. So we have people who are working in the shops. You can't call them street food exactly. They are kind of semi-street food, you can say, between restaurants and then street food vendors. And those who work in those shops are the migrant workers. They are from different places in India and from other places. So they are, most of them, they are back to their villages. So it's going to impact the running of the semi-restaurant kind of structure for a long time. They won't come back. So it will have great impact in coming days. Secondly, as the people who are exactly on the streets, like street food vendors selling from the streets, and for them it will take a long time, because the thing is that first many people are not talking about them. Everyone is more focusing on the restaurants. How will restaurants come up? How will they come up? But many of the people in India specifically, they're not talking about the street food vendors. I think for us, like what we have done, we have started an initiative where we are asking people to send us the suggestions. And the only thing is that we can only help them by providing them the guidelines, what to be followed post-COVID. Like say, when you go to a street food shop, what's the first thing which you will notice? Like, how is the food being prepared? The person who is selling the food, how is he selling it? Is he accepting digital payment, or is he accepting a currency note? Is he serving the food and accepting the currency note? So there are many factors which we have to consider while planning the preventive measures, or we have to create a proper ecosystem for the street food vendors in future. And some of the street food vendors, they are back to their villages, like they are seasonal migrant. In Delhi, because we are in touch with majority of the street food vendors. In fact, we started a campaign as well called Stand with Street Food Vendors. There we interviewed many street food vendors. So we realized many of the seasonal street food vendors who comes from, say, UP to Delhi, they have some savings because Corona started around mid-March, and the peak season for food, travel, tourism, and hospitality sector in India is from October to March. So that was kind of fag end of the tourism season or the food season, you can say. So they have some savings. They will survive. They will survive for a few months, but after a couple of months, they're going to face huge problems. So the thing is that we have to gear up and we have to prepare ourselves, like what people are talking now these days about new normal. So the new normal is applied to everyone, and even to street food vendors. They have to come up with a proper ecosystem where they should be trained about the hygiene and all those stuff, how to maintain that, and then come up strong and start their business.
If I were an 18-year-old, right? So, and if I wanted to pursue something like this, what would be your advice? We lose hope, right? If something doesn't work out, we just lose hope, and we're like, okay, this is not working out. I need to change my field.
Yes. The thing is that, like, what I also work with many young people in the industry in Delhi. I've realized many of the youngsters or the young generation, they don't have much patience.
Yeah.
So the first key to success is patience. Second is consistency. You have to keep doing the same thing every day. Like, say if we are doing a food tour, it's not only just doing one time and after it's like, oh, I am bored, I can't do it, I don't want to do it. But the young generation, what we have realized while working with them, after like few months, you see the graph when they join will be like, say they want to really do something new, and then after some time the graph will come down. So the first key to success is like patience, and second is, I think, consistency. You have to keep doing the same thing every time, and that's what I have done. Like, I've kept doing the food walks every day at the same location, in the same shops, in the same area. So that's the thing, and same goes for anything. Like if you are doing, say, digital marketing, or you are running any restaurant or any setup, you have to inculcate that in your mindset कि दुकानदार भी दुकान पे जाता है तो वो दुकान रोज खोलता है, वो नहीं कहता है कि मैं यार मेरा काम खत्म हो गया, 1 साल हो गया, मैं दुकान नहीं खोलूंगा. So you have to keep doing the same stuff over the years, and then you master it over the period of time.
That's nice. That's a very nice thing you said, about the shopkeeper. It's the same process over and over.
Same process, and whole life they do the same thing. वो नहीं कहता ना कि भाई मैंने आज मेरा साइकिल का काम था, मैंने साइकिल बेचा, कल मैं नहीं, ठीक है, मैं कबाब की दुकान लगा लेता हूँ, परसों मैं कुछ और कर लूंगा.
Exactly.
And it happens with majority of people I have seen. This keep changing their profile. And second thing, I think, is also follow your passion. I think this is really true. When you are and you have to think about it, कि क्या है, what's the one thing which you enjoy doing. So you have to figure out, and once you do it, then I work almost, I'm in a 24 hours mode. I keep doing because I enjoy doing it. I never realize that I'm working.
That's nice.
So from morning, like from wake up to sleep, so I'm always in work mode, but I never realize that I'm working because I enjoy doing it. So that's also one major factor, that you have to do something which you enjoy doing it.
Nice. And so what is that one country that you would want to explore besides the neighboring countries here?
Yes, that's also in the mind. I really want to visit Istanbul.
Oh,
so hopefully one day.
Exactly.
Yeah, Istanbul I really want to explore. I have seen a lot of online videos and I have read many articles and all those stuff. So I really want to explore it. Hopefully, let's see कब खत्म होता है ये, दोबारा से will be.
There's something about Turkey.
Yeah.
Seriously.
When you say Turkey, तो बिल्कुल food दिमाग में आता है. Then you get to see the culture and all those stuff.
Seriously, yes, exactly. I've been following all these bloggers who visited Turkey, and it just kind of like reinforced my interest in visiting the place.
So, thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.